Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be servicing the SPC upper control arm ball joints on my Toyota 4Runner. Now, some of you guys already know I have aftermarket upper control arms on this Toyota 4Runner, and they require some servicing every oil change, and that service is very simple to do as long as you have a grease gun and the right grease. Now, if you guys don't have aftermarket SPC upper control arms, then this doesn't apply to you. Your ball joints are actually non-serviceable, and as long as the boot is intact, you don't have to do any kind of maintenance on it. For these here, SPC recommends you do them every oil change or every time you go off-roading in wet or dry conditions. All you need to do for this service is just pump new grease into the upper ball joint, and you should be good until the next oil change. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to use for this job. All right, this here are all the tools you're going to need for this job. You're just going to need some kind of grease gun. You can see here I'm just using a flexible hose type. This flexible hose here is going to make it a little bit easier to get to, especially if you don't have a lot of room between the tire and the fender. You see here it's just a standard fitting. This one seems to fit. I didn't have to buy any custom one. So if you're buying a random grease gun, most likely it's going to fit for your SPC upper ball joints. The grease I'm going with is a heavy duty palladium 3% moly grease here from Valvoline. One thing you want to make sure is the grease is actually moly grease and not just regular grease. The telltale sign will be the grease will be black in color, and if it's red or any other color, then most likely it's not a moly grease. This is one of the grease tubes that SPC recommends, and I'll leave a list of other ones that are available if you guys can't find this one specifically. Now this one is easy to find. You can find this on Amazon. It was about $10, and I'll leave a link for you guys in the video description. Another thing that's helpful is to have some disposable gloves because this grease can get everywhere and it can get pretty messy. Now these other items over here are optional. This is a paint marker and a torque wrench for the top nut for the SPC upper ball joints. And the reason why I have this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to be re-torquing that top nut just to make sure that it didn't come loose. I've heard too many horror stories with people losing their alignment and then losing their wheels and breaking their upper ball joint. So I'm going to go ahead and just re-torque that top nut to 150 foot-pounds just to see if it moved any. And this is just a paint marker to make sure that that top nut is not moving. So as you're off-roading or driving around, you can just visually look at this and you can see if that top nut has moved or not. Again, these tools here are completely optional. All you really need is a grease gun and the right grease. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the job. We're just going to load the grease into the grease gun. It's very simple. I'll show you guys how to do that now. Alright, so I've used this grease gun before and you can see it's got red grease in there. It's probably from my boat or something. And I've cleaned out as much as I can. First thing you want to do is pull the plunger all the way back. You're going to want to hold it vertically like this, so that way this catch right here stays in the down position. So that way it holds the spring. So it can be a little bit slippery, so try to use a rag or something to help you out. There you go. All right, now that the plunger is all the way down, we're going to go ahead and load our grease now. Go ahead and take off the cap here. This side is going to load into the gun. The other side won't fit, so you can't put it in wrong, so don't worry about that. So we're going to go ahead and put this into the gun. And see how it didn't go all the way down here? So I have to pull the plunger a little bit more. Okay, so now you can see here I got the grease all the way in there, and now we can open this, and then we can open this up so the grease can come out. And as I mentioned, the grease is supposed to be black. It should not be any other color. If it is, most likely it's not a moly grease. All right, now we're just going to twist on the cap here for the gun part. All right, since there's old grease in here, we're going to pump this a couple times to get all the old red grease out. Now, if yours is new, then you probably won't have to do this, but I want to see black grease. And there we go. Okay, at this point, we're at black grease. So that's the new grease here. All right, now we're all ready to go and we're gonna head over to the vehicle and we're gonna service those upper ball joints. All right, guys, we are on the passenger side here and you can see this is the upper ball joint. It normally doesn't have this vacuum cap on there. I just put it on here to protect it from dirt and dust. But you're gonna wanna clean this off so that way you don't push any dirt into your ball joint. And since mine has a cap, I don't need to do that. Now here's where that flexible hose comes in handy. You can see here there's not a lot of room under here unless you've got a monster lift, but you're just going to want to shove this on here like that, and it should stay there. You can hold it if you like, but all you're going to do now is just do 5 to 10 pumps and you should be good to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you can just pull that off. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this off now. And just like that, you should be good for at least another 5,000 miles or whenever your next oil change is. Or if you're driving a lot of dusty conditions, you may want to grease this more often. Now, SPC does say that you will notice some grease coming out as you're driving, and that's because the new grease is on top now, and as this thing articulates up and down, you're going to start to see some of the old grease come out at the bottom, and that's completely normal. Now, we're going to go ahead and do the other side as well, and it's the exact same process, and it's pretty easy. I don't really have to show you guys, but let me show you guys what else I do to this upper ball joint, so that way I can have peace of mind. Now, I'm not sure if the camera can pick this up, but there is actually a line on here already. And this is the original line I drew when I first installed these. And you can see here, maybe it hasn't moved at all, which is a good thing. That tells me that it's probably still within the torque spec, but I'm gonna go ahead and retorque it anyways. And then I'm gonna erase this line and draw a new line if it moved. Again, this step is completely optional, it's up to you, but I'm gonna do this anyways. This takes a 32 millimeter and it's torqued to 150 foot-pounds. And as you can see there, it did not move at all, which is good. And the white mark is still in the location that it was originally at. And I'm gonna go ahead and just redarken this line just in case it comes off. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do the other side exactly the same. I don't need to show you guys, but that's pretty much all you need to do to service these upper ball joints. All right, guys, pretty much done with the job here. As you can see, it's very simple to do. Definitely want to do it when you do your oil change. It should only take you about 5 minutes or so on each side. And as long as you have the grease gun and the right grease, you can just leave it in your shelf, and every time you do an oil change, you'll be good to go. Now, if you notice that your boot is ripped or something's wrong with your upper ball joints, these upper ball joints are easy to replace and easy to find. I'll leave a link down in the description for you guys in case you guys need that, but you should be able to just unbolt it, put a new one in, and then tighten the castle nut. The bottom retainer actually doesn't need to change on these, so it's very easy to change in case you need to change it. Well guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys check out my other videos on my channel. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. And as always guys, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.